which will be asked to all candidates who are who are in attendance. We'll have 3 questions, which will be asked. There are 4 questions overall, I beg your pardon, which will be asked of all the candidates, and you will each have up to 1 minute to answer. I will be timing. So once your time is up, you will hear a slight alarm. If you could please make sure you finish again, just to make sure everyone's got the same amount of time. We have the questions are themed. So the first question is a hot topic that I'm sure we're all aware of in terms of lots of candidates who are an attendee discussing university fees. We'll have 3
Then
questions.
The second question will be around the academic
experience
here
overall,
at Greenwich.
which will be asked of all the candidates, and you will each have up to 1 minute
be based on a manifesto.
I will be timing.
That's been submitted by yourselves
time
for
is
students
up,
to find out
you will
more.
hear a slight alarm.
Each candidate
please
will
make
also
sure you
have
finish again, just to make sure everyone's got the same amount of time.
There might also be
We have
some
the
follow-ups to
questions
try and
are
help
themed.
so the first question is a hot topic
about
that I'm sure
we're all aware of in terms of candidates who are an attendee
So,
fees.
we're
We'll
about
have
to
3
get
questions.
into
Second
it.
question will be around the academic
The rubber
experience
ball
overall, I
is
beg your pardon.
chat
We'll check the question
so
of all
you
the
know when it is your
candidates,
time
and
to
you will
speak,
each have question
and you can start
based on a
to
manifesto.
get yourself ready and prepare. You know, you'll have the full
submitted
list
by
and you know which
yourselves.
order you're
Time
going
is
to,
students to
and
find
throughout the
out
night we'll
more.
be
Thanks, Sam. I'm Nathan Arnold. I'm from the Medway campus. I'm an electrical electronic engineer in my 3rd year, and I'm heavily involved with GSU and mostly the Medway campus, but the Faculty of Engineering and Sciences.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nathan. So question 1, your minute starts now.
Thank you. The idea of a refund is arguable, of course. I definitely would like debate and discussion about it. Some kind of compensation, some kind of feedback system would be great, but I definitely don't want it to be a flat out 100% refund from the university or from the government or in any way from our economy, because that's detrimental in other ways. But there's definitely a lot that can be done. It's all early days and we're all learning as we go on this. So obviously there's going to be ideas that look like they suit, but when implemented don't. It would definitely be nice to hear back from both university staff and students what they think is fair as compensation. Someone was talking about like an hourly rate per hour of lectures that were missed, but there's a lot more that the university are providing, which some people aren't utilising, but the university, in my respect, have gone out of their way to help me. Every time I've needed help, there's been someone there to answer me in any way that they can. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nathan. That's time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nathan. Next, we will go to Luke. Again, Luke, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, can you hear me all right, yeah?
Yes, thank you.
Sorted, good. So I'm Luke Arscott. I'm a final year geography student. I am currently a faculty officer for engineering science, and I run a host of societies in Medway.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Your minute starts now.
I think it's true that we've all been affected in some way. So my stance on this issue of fees would be that I think we need to talking is good, and that we shouldn't necessarily ask for the full refund because there are instances of good learning. However, I do think that we should be seeking some kind of a rebate for what we've gone through because we haven't had the experience or the teaching that we should have had 100% of the time. I think as part of this, we should get the university, which is something I want to do, to be transparent with the fees so we know exactly where every penny of our £9,250 or more if you're an international student, know where every penny of that goes rather than just into a pit. So I do think there should be some kind of a rebate, not necessarily the full amount, and we should seek the transparency. And I'll leave that one there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luke. Much appreciated. Next, we have Attica. I think I've seen that. Yeah, there we are. If you just speak.
Hiya, can you hear me?
There we go. I can hear you now. Thank you, Attica. If you want to start by introducing yourself, and then I'll start the timer.
Brilliant. So hello, everyone. I'm Attica. I'm a 3rd year history and politics student, and I'm running to be a GSU officer.
Thanks so much. So I'm now going to start your minute, and you can answer the first question. Thank you.
All right, so good value for money is basically a reduced fee for many students. Plenty of students have been affected by COVID. For example, students studying practical subjects have limited access to resources. International students have travelled miles only not to attend any in-person classes after a blended learning promise. And it's only right they have a chance at compensation. And since umbrella-style refunds have been dismissed by the government, I want to empower those students that feel as though their academic year has been impacted through showing them how to file complaints for disruption on an individual basis and achieve subsequent refunds. And in that same vein of fees, I'm pushing for students struggling to pay fees in light of COVID to pay in installments or to be allowed to make delayed payments. And if the blended learning promise for next year is not up to par, I will encourage the SU to take it to the OIA because it's only fair.
Thank you so much. Brilliant, Attica. Thank you. So next we move to Zoe.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you, Zoe.
Okay, let me know if I cut out at any point. So yeah, I'm Zoe. I'm one of your current GSU officers. I'm running for a GSU officer and NUS delegate. I studied criminology, finishing last year, and yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Zoe. I will start your minute now.
Okay, so I think that as a union, we need to be campaigning to the government. I think that's the most practical way to get a result. I know they've obviously been difficult, but I think to be trying to get refunds from the university would probably see the university go broke, which would obviously affect us even more. I think that we do need to be pushing for good value, because there are areas where the university has unfortunately failed to deliver for students. I think particularly when we look at the fact that they encouraged students to come under the guise that we'd be on campus, I think we need to be kind of holding them to the fact that they did kind of miscommunicate and falsely advertise to some students. I think in terms of good value, we need to make sure that we're offering good student support, and where we are unable to refund, we're able to at least support those students to succeed. We need to make sure that it's accessible. A lot of students have not been able to actually access things within their learning experience, and that's unacceptable. And we need clarity on the way that tuition fees are being spent, and a means to challenge where it's not actually meeting what we need.
Thank you, Zoe.
Is that time?
Yeah, that is time.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next, we will move to Ruth.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ruth Gigayo. I've done my bachelor's in maths at Greenwich, and I'm doing now my postgraduate teacher training for maths. And I've represented students from my first year at Greenwich.
Brilliant. Thank you. Welcome, Ruth. So I'll start your minute now on the question.
So there should definitely be a big decrease, but I'm not sure about a complete refund, as we have to pay the lecturers and we are able to use university services. But the services we have at university need to match to what we are paying. And I would like for students to realize that they should use all services, so that we can also demand for improvement for those services together when necessary. We all know, generally, especially this year, a decrease is necessary. And I also want to mention, as an NUS delegate a few years before, I voted for a decrease in fees, and I will put my voice forward again at the next NUS conference for this, if you elect me as your NUS delegate as well. So I put myself forward as a NUS delegate and a GSU officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. I believe Martina is in the call and is next.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Martina. Welcome.
So my name is Martina, and I'm a third year sociology student, and I'm running as a GSU officer.
Brilliant. Thank you. Welcome. I will start your 1 minute now.
Okay. In terms of refunds, I believe that we should have a refund, because a lot of people have faced like they don't have much support from the course, from the lecturer or like the supervisors during this time, and at the same time they are not really going to university for face-to-face lectures. And something that we need to work on, I think, is the complaint forms we have to fill, because I think for some students it's very much overwhelming. And for this reason, I think it's better to give like more of like general complaint instead of going on an individual level, where like not all students need to file a complaint, but then we can do that together. So I kind of tend not to be overwhelmed for students that don't feel like they can fill, as I say, this form.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Martina. Thank you. So we'll be continuing. I'll be going further down the list. I just want to reiterate, so the hustings tonight are for candidates for GSU officer only. Of course, there are some people that are running for both, which is absolutely understandable. But because not all NUS delegate candidates are able to speak or are going through hustings, please refrain from mentioning that you're also running for NUS delegate, just to make sure that it's a fair level playing field. So for tonight, if we could just stick to references as being a future GSU officer, which 4 of you on the call will be. Thank you. Next on my list, I have Shay.
Hi, my name's Shay. I'm a third year student studying creative writing.
Brilliant. Welcome, Shafi. Just give a second. Okay, you're highlighted. Your minute starts now.
I don't think students should get refunds for tuition fees because I think that's highly unlikely. Instead, I think students need a reduction in tuition fees. I think that'll be more likely to take place because, and I understand that the NUS delegates, they have a national conference which is in April, and so I know as a union officer, I know reducing tuition fees is a national problem. So I aim to speak with the NUS delegates if I get elected as an officer to devise strategy, devise a plan on how we're going to debate in reducing our tuition fees, because that's something I'm really passionate about. I do believe that as long as we never give up, it's going to be a matter of time before the other side gives in. I do believe that, and I feel like I have lots of spirit and lots of passion in this area. In regards to the second part of the question, which was, I believe, that's done. I'm done.
Sorry, Shay. Yes, that's the minute done. Just a reminder for all candidates, the question is in the chat as well if you want to have another look. So I'll be going next to Yasina.
Yeah, hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so my name is Yasinur. I'm studying international business and economics. I'm on my final year now. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So your 1 minute will start now.
Yeah, so about the tuition fees refund, I think it's definitely students should get tuition fee refund, and I also want my money back because I don't think it's fair to pay this amount of money for the quality of education we have got. So as far as I know, the university probably won't be able to refund the money, so we have to get it from the government, and to get it from the government, we have to work with the NUS and we have to make a national level campaign. So obviously, I think students should get their money back. And as far as I remember, last year the lockdown started when we was able to finish our second year, and there was a break of like 4 or 5 months. The university could, try to improve the quality of education, but they didn't. But whatever. I just want everyone should get their refund. Thank you.
Right, thanks so much, Yasina. Brilliant. Next on my list is Malachi.
Hi, yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Malachi. I'm a second-year student. I study psychology, and I'm currently the president of the Greenwich Politics Society as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Malachi. Your minute on question 1 starts now.
Awesome. So yeah, absolutely. I think that the quality of teaching that we have received this year isn't up to the same standard as last year. I think that obviously lecturers and staff have put in additional help and additional effort, and we can thank them for all that. But I think that ultimately learning online is just not the same as learning in person. And I think because of that, we do need to be fighting for a subsidised fee on a national level. And the way to do that, in my opinion, is to come together with other universities and to fight for that and to say, actually, this isn't fair. We've not had the same level of quality of education compared to previous years. Why should we pay the same price for it? I think in terms of actually bettering academic experience for students, we need to make sure that students are aware of the academic skills team. We need to make sure that students are using the academic skills team, and we need to push for further academic support. So I don't want a situation where any students are left behind because of online learning. We need more contact hours.
Thank you, Malachi. That is indeed time. Thank you. Okay, so next on my list, I've got Nick.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Nick. Welcome.
Cool.
Let's start by introducing yourself, and then we'll move to your question.
Yeah, so I'm Nick. I'm a third-year English language and English language teaching student, and I am running for GSU also.
Thank you. Your minute on question 1. We'll start now.
Cool. So I think a full refund is a massive stretch. I don't think it's going to happen. We can campaign as much as we want. I think the only people that are actually going to benefit from a partial refund for this year are international students. If you're a UK student, you're not going to be given any money back. They're just going to reduce the fees. And judging statistically by how much you pay back and what you earn, chances are you're not going to pay back everything anyway. So the refund you'd be given is just the amount you would get for free, essentially, anyway. I think what we need to be doing is focusing on costs that are closer to home. Definitely look at bringing more awareness to the hardship fund and the financial options that are there for us now that are actually going to benefit the students today. I think looking at halls costs and fees, because that is an outlet of the university, is really important, and halls costs has really affected a lot of students, especially since they haven't been living there. But yes, focusing on things that are closer to home that are going to benefit students financially now, as opposed to refunds that they might never see in 30 years anyway. There we go.
Thank you very much, Nick. Next is Rashini.
Hi, I'm Roshni. I'm a web design and content planning student. I'm sorry if my network is bad. It just keeps coming and going.
We can hear you, and I can now see you as well. So thank you for your introduction. Your 1 minute on question 1 starts now.
All right. So what I think is that there should be some kind of refund, because the students should feel the value for their money, and it should not be like more like a marketization of the education. If I take the case of international students like me, we are paying a huge amount for this, so that's just that they should feel that they have been given extra hours, and the learning, it's all about the learning. Even if it is virtually or if it is face to face, the thing what we are learning is the same, but the practical ways of doing it is only different, that we are not having a face to face experience or one-to-one contact. So that if you make it just make the students feel that they have been not like refunding the whole amount, because there might be some other way that you can feel like you got the value for the money. That's what I think by this. Instead of refunding, just make sure that students get the value of the money rather than asking for a refund or going for a fight for it. Moreover, it's better that we just check with the government how they can help us in providing the education system from getting more of, rather than confusing the nature of paying for our education and marketization of the university, we can make it an accountable way. And just keep it not like marginalizing every student. Like we should feel that every student is paying for the same.
Thanks.
That's what I feel about refund. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving to Na.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, I can see and hear.
Brilliant.
If hold on, just bear with. If everyone else could please mute, that would be great. But no, if you could please introduce yourself, and then I will start your 1 minute on question 1.
Sure. So hi, I'm Na. I'm a third-year cybernetics engineering student on the Medway campus. Yes, and that's pretty much what you need to know.
Brilliant. I will start your 1 minute now.
Awesome. Okay, so it's been said quite a lot in some of the answers we got so far. You have to think about the practicality of doing something like a refund. And especially with a home student, it's hypothetical money that you're being refunded. Because the way that the system works is that for you to be able to pay your tuition fees, you're getting hypothetical money that you didn't already have. So to say that you want a refund, you got to kind of lower your expectations a little bit. Now, there's a difference between refunding and compensating, and that's something that we can work towards and have a discussion on. For example, halls fees, things that practically cost you as a student, as an individual. And then, of course, you've also got to consider the fact that not every course is comparable, and no course can be easily translated online. But for example, there are some courses that are harder to translate online. So you have to think, what's the engagement of your course? What is the physical component, and how can you meet that? And I think I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Noah. Thanks for that. Next on my list is Neela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Neela. I'm a third-year student studying English literature. I'm running to be a GSU officer. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Okay, welcome. Your 1 minute on question 1 starts now.
Thank you. So I think students absolutely deserve a refund or compensation on fees, and that involves both tuition fees and accommodation fees. On a national level, that means working with the NUS delegates to address our ever-increasing student fees that keep putting a financial strain on students. On a local level, that means working on a rent rebate. So The Guardian has recently reported that students have paid over £1 billion across the UK for accommodations and rooms that they cannot occupy, and that doesn't even figure in private accommodation. That's just university halls. There has been no substantial rent relief, and the action to take here is improve students' renters' rights. So for example, we need limited time contracts, we need better options to cancel contracts in case lockdowns or something like that happens. And all these and an improvement of student renter rights will force the administration to ensure proper maintenance of the halls and to be responsive to the needs of students. And that means having value for our money. Thank you.
Thank you, Neela. Next on my list is Vaishali.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and momentarily I'll be able to see you.
All right. So, hello everyone. I'm Vaishali. I'm an MBA International Business student, and I'm born and brought up in India. So that's it for my introduction.
Okay, thank you very much, Vaishali. So your 1 minute on question one starts now.
All right. So, as the question is that the students are affected, like the academic experience has been affected, I feel so yes, and I basically feel that a union is formed by the students and for the students. So it's not only my decision to this situation. There should be a proper petition signed towards this, and there should be concern of every individual and student studying here in the University of Greenwich, because there are more than 2 campuses, around like 3, and now the 4th at Bathway. So there are 4 campuses, and there's so many students, like 20,000 students. Everyone needs to give their concern and the compensation. So giving refund to everyone wouldn't be a justice, because as well the nationals and internationals both got affected due to the pandemic, and this can be taken forward through the NUS conference in the upcoming April month. And then the decision can be taken out, and the government can support more towards this, and everyone gets relief out of it. So that's it from my side. Thank you.
That is your time. Thank you very much. And next, last but absolutely not least, Sharifa. I think you're on the call now. I can see you on the list, Sharifa. There we go. If you want to just speak. Okay, there we go. If you can start by introducing yourself, and then we'll go. You'll have 1 minute on question number 1.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Sharifa. I'm a 3rd year sociology student, and I am running for GSU officer.
Thank you so much. So your 1 minute on question 1 starts now.
In terms of refunds, I don't think we should get a full refund, because the university has definitely done a lot to support students. Some lecturers and staff have also done as much as they can to support us, especially considering the times that we live in. However, the quality of education has not been the same this year. And in addition, students were given a lot of promises which were not followed through, and some compensations definitely need to be given. And in terms of what good quality of money looks like, I think it's giving students all the necessary resources to fully prepare students for their courses and degrees, finding alternative ways to fully support students, and to ensure the communication between students, lecturers, and the university is significantly improved. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Sharifa. Great. So we've come to the end of question 1. Everyone's been able to get on camera. Everyone's been heard. The internet's not gone down thus far. I think that's worthy of a round of applause. I'll start the round of applause off. And well done to you all for answering. So we're going to go to the next round, which will be focused. The question will be focused on the academic experience here at Greenwich. We'll be reversing the order as well of who's answering. So I believe that should now be posted. And we'll be starting in reverse order. So Sharifa will be first. And the question is, what is good academic experience? And what do you think
as well. The degree should be in practice, and I guess that's the whole barrier which has been set. That's it.
Yes. Thank you very much, Vaishali. So next, Neela. Again, if you want to, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
So your 1 minute question 2 starts now.
Thank you. I think good academic experience is an experience where everyone is included and gets the support that they need. How can we improve the academic experience at Greenwich? We need to improve the interconnectivity of our 3 campuses. We need free and more frequent transportations between Medway, Avery Hill and Greenwich, and that includes late in the evening for people who want to visit the library or go to the lower deck, for example. I will also implement a peer-to-peer mentoring scheme so students can help other struggling students on their courses while improving the accessibility of skills workshops, tutorials, and job placements. Reading materials need to be available both in the library and online. For example, Greenwich needs to subscribe to JSTOR, which is one of the biggest journal databases, but we don't have access to it. I will also improve the accessibility of classes for people with disabilities, physical disabilities, as well as learning disabilities to ensure no one is left behind, while implementing and expanding the Refugee Scholarship Fund to ensure our Students' Union remains inclusive and open to all. Thank you. I shut off my camera there instead of my mics.
So, and I think then my mic went off. Sorry, Neil. You can all hear me now, yes? Yes, I think Teams did a bit of a switch there for some reason. So next up is Na.
To barriers as well. I would say content and relevance to industry, teaching support, opportunity to engage and demonstrate skill. In terms of barriers, I would say the ability for a student to assimilate to their course, communication between students and their teachers, teaching style and accessibility to learning. You cannot assume that everybody learns the same way. You can have a lecturer that takes the biggest pride in having a 5,000 slide PowerPoint that he intends to finish in that 1 hour lecture block. That does not mean every single one of his students is going to be able to understand. So in terms of academic experience, I would say make sure that the delivery is there. The ability to translate the skills that you've learned is there. Otherwise, what is the point of you studying that degree? So I think I will stop there.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Na. Next, Roshni.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, so what I felt is, can I start?
Yes, yeah, 1 minute starts now. I'll restart that for you. Go ahead.
Okay. What we should worry about this pandemic situation is that in these unsettling times, myself as an international student, I've been to university only for my enrollment. After that, I only been there. I've missed the campus experience as such. The barriers, of course, for the learning academics purpose, I think it's the mobile data, of course, and the network issues. We are missing out the one-to-one campus experience or one-to-one lectures, and we are missing that being interconnected with students and with academicians and lecture sessions. All that everything is just available for us online. And if we take about the good academics and being about the accessibility to the campus from one campus to other, the rates, all that needs to be rectified, I think. And moreover, for a good experience in the university, I believe it should be more about like we having a university, a campus feeling, more like an experience being in the Greenwich University with one another and attending the sessions one-to-one and having an interactive experience with each other.
Okay, thank you very much, Roshni. Next up is Nick.
Hello.
Hello, just 1 second. We'll spotlight you, and then your minute starts now.
Okay, so I think there are definitely pros and cons of how we've been learning this year over the last 12 months. I think naturally we want to get people safely back onto campus. I think that is the whole point of university. It's getting that interaction that you don't necessarily get online. I think, we definitely do need to take the pros and cons of what we've had this year. It's not going to disappear straight away. And as the industries and things like that grow ever more international, I think online meetings are going to stay as part of our working world now. And I think having the skills there to be able to do those properly that we will have got is a definite pro. However, the academic experience has definitely been lessened, and I think access to things outside of your course, such as the library, has definitely had a real detrimental effect that I think needs to be considered in the grading of people's work. So definitely focus on the pros and cons and create the best possible collection and pairings of things that we've had from on-campus and online learning ready to take into next year.
Thank you so much, Nick. There we go. Next is Malachi.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
Yes. Thank you. You're on the screen. Your minute starts now.
Awesome. So what is good academic experience? To me, that's made of two components. Support from lecturers and making sure that you've got the information you need to succeed and to do your assignments, but also support from societies and extracurricular. I think that so much is gained from societies at university, and we need to make sure that they have that support to be able to help students to network, to meet people, because ultimately networking and meeting people is what's going to get you into those industries after university. So we need to make sure that that's there. In terms of barriers, as a disabled student myself with a physical disability, I want to ensure that there is additional support for disabled students and that they feel that they are supported. And I think one of the big ones is interconnectivity between campuses. It comes up every year. I'm not sure why it's still such an issue in the sense that it's not being solved. And I want to make sure that we solve that to make sure that campuses are easier to go from one to another, and that students can make the most of their time when they're on campus, use that education. Thank you.
Thank you, Malachi. Next up is Yasina.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can. Thank you very much. Your minute starts now.
Yeah, thank you. So a good academic experience, I think, should be a really good communication between staff and students. And also the students get supported both mentally and academically, especially if some students are struggling at their studies. The special attention from their teacher lecturers. And in terms of mental health support, the teachers and other staff should have certain level of understanding of mental health and effective communications. And other than this, I think we should keep all the books, we should make all the books available online. I was doing some of my assignments and I couldn't find some of the books available online. And I talked with one of the library staff and they said that we need a huge amount of funding for this. So I think we should work on increasing the funding for the library as well to get all the books available online. And other than this, I think introducing student as mentor-mentee scheme will be really helpful. So second year student or third year student can advise first year or junior students, and that will be really helpful. And also for international student, I think we should launch the languages. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, no, sorry, that is time. Thank you very much. Okay, Shay, you are next. If you just speak. And we can
hi.
There we go. Thank you very much. Your minute on question 2 starts now.
I think students should have deadlines, events, and avenues of support clearly communicated to them at the beginning of the course. I also think that there should be quicker response times between lecturers and students. And also, I would like lecturers to, build a rapport with students. I don't know about you, but some of my lecturers, even though I'm in my third year, they still talk to me like I'm somebody else when I've been their student for 3 years. So I think it's really important for lecturers to build rapports with students. Finally, that's it. That's it, probably.
Thank you, Shay. Great. Martina, if you just want to speak, and then we'll be able to get you up on the screen. Martina, if you're still there, you are currently on mute. I don't think Martina is still in the meeting. If you are, please give us a shout. But for now, we'll move on to Ruth.
Yes.
Your minutes now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right. So a good academic experience is one where students' well-being is prioritized and a strong support system is built. The barriers are that the services might not be visible enough for all students or strong enough. And I think it helps the well-being services, especially at the beginning, middle, and end of year, are clearly pointed towards for students. This should be emphasized on the portal and have a science base on each Moodle course. I also think we need to continue making sure that the support systems like counseling, mentoring, listening ear, pastoral care, for example, are also strong enough to welcome students who need support. Another support system are our classes. I think having the academic societies for each course being even more engaged with the associate courses could be a meaningful bridge between students and lecturers and also between students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruth. Okay, Zoe, you are next.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You'll just be shortly highlighted and your minute starts now.
Okay, so good academic experience should be collaborative, accessible, and moves beyond teaching, because a grade is the bare minimum that we should be expecting from the university. I think that we need to be sort of working, especially with students, because students know best, to develop more ways to learn and to teach and to assess students so that everyone has a fair chance. And, you know, one size doesn't fit all. And unfortunately, we still have students who aren't able to access simple things like their lectures because lecturers haven't produced captioning and there's no sort of accessible way at the moment still, and we need to be kind of pushing harder on that. I've already got to the university to commit to things like decolonizing, but I think that we need to push for a sort of long-term commitment, and it needs to be unconditional, because it's unfortunate that we're still having to ask for support on things. So I think we need to be kind of making sure that our offer is as inclusive as possible and does consider the diversity of our students. I don't know if I've run out of time, but
nope. 2 seconds left. Thank you, Zoe. Artica next.
Hello.
There we go. I can hear you now. Your minute on question 2.
Just a second. It says Moses on the list. Has this person spoken?
Moses is not in the meeting.
Okay.
Yes, is you indexed. Okay, your 1 minute starts now.
All right, so what's good academic experience? It's good delivery, it's appropriate testing, and a rich, relevant curriculum. We need a feedback system that allows students to let faculties know what's working, what isn't, which allows them to be co-creators in their own learning experience. And co-creation is fundamental in a student's learning experience. As far as rich curriculum, I strongly believe in curriculum decolonization through regular scrutiny by those who curate the curriculum. As far as barriers, poorly accessible lecturers, whether literally not being able to reach them or metaphorically in the sense that some staff are not properly trained in dealing with students in a way that stops the formation of a good rapport or communication that can sometimes even be detrimental to a student's well-being. And academic experience can be thwarted by poor well-being. That brings us to why it's important we change the mental health culture in Greenwich. And in that same vein, prioritizing competent student-teacher communication in a way that sees us really focus on having our teachers trained to properly communicate with students.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That is your time. Next up is Luke.
Thank you. Is this all good to go?
Yeah, your minute starts now.
Awesome. So I believe good academic experience is having the contact time with your tutors and your lecturers to build that good relationship with the staff, as ultimately they're the ones marking your work and helping us get to where we need to be. I think you should also be enjoying your lectures that are up to date and engaging and relatable, so that it makes you want to question, want to go that bit further. The barriers I believe we are facing right now, technology is the big one, so that we need to address first and foremost. Alongside this though, there is communication, as I know some people aren't getting email replies from lecturers at all or in a sensible time frame as per university guidelines that they set out for staff. I also believe that mental health is a big issue, and that's one of the points of my manifesto. But with the recent studies coming out about long COVID, Zoom fatigue, these are things that when the published results come out, we should also study with the university so we can get that support that we need to get these amazing degrees that we are all capable of. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. And on this round, last but not least, is Nathan. Nathan, if you want to give us a shout. There we go. I can see you. Yes. Your minute starts now.
I feel like I'm going to brush people the wrong way on this one, but my academic experience has been fantastic so far throughout. Every single member of staff that I've got in touch with, they've always got back to me. The engineering side of things, we're recognised very well externally. We're accredited. We have external companies come in and always get involved. The Institution of Engineering and Technology, Engineers Without Borders. We've got some fantastic names behind us and some bigger companies as well. Academic society-wise, we are part of a 380 members strong. We all mentor each other. We've got people from year 3 mentoring year 2, and it cycles down. It all works really well together. We've had more social sides come out of that from pool societies. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got much to say bad on that front. I can even sit down and I've had beers with my lecturers, and it's been an amazing experience. And yeah, we can grow from it without a doubt, but it's fantastic on the engineering front. That's it.
Thank you.
Great.
There we go. Thank you very much, Nathan. That is your time. Thank you. So one last call for Martina, who was here for round 1, but seems to have dropped off for round 2. Martina is not on the call. Okay, so we've come to halfway. We've gone through 2 rounds of really great and detailed answers. So we're going to do another round of applause. And then we're going to have a very short 5-minute comfort break. I'm going to clearly go and make a better glass of dilute, and hopefully you'll all be a fan of that. But we'll go for 5 minutes. So if you can all come back, I'm going to be precise on this. You can come back at 3 past 6, so 6:03 for us, so that we can get ready for the second half. Feel free to switch off your cameras at this stage, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Is it still live streaming during this break time?
Yes, I believe so. So yes, if you'd like to mute and cameras off is fine. Right, so hopefully everyone should be back. Thank you, Zoe. I am indeed plugging the GSU website. So as you can see at the moment on our rolling banner, here is the main information we've got. So useful contact information. I'll go from the top. The elections, of course, which are open now. So if you hear any students who are unsure how to vote, where to vote, please send them to our website, quite simply, greenwichsu.co.uk. Every single student also received an all-student email earlier this afternoon with a link to the voting. So you just ask them to check their inboxes. All of your information as candidates, including the candidate wall, the Q&As that you answered as well, can also be found on the website. So please make sure you're sharing that. A few other things we've got on at the moment, it's Women's History Month in March. So our Liberation Networks organised alongside our Liberation organisers have a series of events. So make sure you choose to challenge. Useful contact information. Again, it's always great to know who to contact if you need any help whilst here at Greenwich. So please pass those on. And last but absolutely not least, it is also award season. So highlighted here are the Activities Awards. Those nominations are now / still open across the rest of this month. We've also got nominations for the Student-Led Teaching Awards. Both of those can be found on our website, but you can go straight to Activities Awards nominations through our website. Both events will be digital this year, of course, due to where we're at with the COVID restrictions, but please make sure you are passing that around. Both deadlines are the same for the end of this month, and you'll also hear some more information about that after elections have finished. That brings an end to this public service announcement. So I will come back on the screen. But please do plug all the other things that GSU does, some exciting events that we've got across March, as well as virtual varsity, which is taking place on the last Wednesday of the month. We've also got lots of democratic events. Of course, I'm going to plug that. Students also receive notice of the general meeting, which will be taking place later this month. And we also have our next student assembly. There's also a scrutiny panel. There's a lot going on. March is always a really interesting month. It's always great to see the broad range of activity that we've got across GSU. Your one-stop shop, check our website, what's on, and you'll find all the information. Right, so everyone should be back. Just a nice little thumbs up. Yeah, I can see some faces. I've topped up my dilute. Is that redder? I can't tell. I had to top it up at the end. If you want to put a little love heart, go ahead. You know, just feel free to do that. Right, so just bear with, I will get my setup. Love, thank you for the love hearts, guys. I totally was not expecting that. So I will now get us ready for the second half of the hustings tonight. So as a reminder, we're also live streaming this on our Facebook page and our YouTube. So you should be able to share these after once the events are finished. Share them amongst your networks, and you can point students towards those resources if they also don't know how to vote yet. Question 3 has been posted in the group, so I'll give you all some time to read that and prepare. So question 3 is, how will you work to reduce the barriers to education and enjoyment by students facing additional pressures and discrimination? These include students with additional caring responsibilities and students identifying with protected characteristics, such as students from our liberation groups and our hard-to-reach groups as well. So the question is, how will you work to reduce the barriers to education and enjoyment by students facing additional pressures and discrimination? These include students with additional caring responsibilities and students identifying within protected characteristics. So we're going to flip the order again, meaning if I just get my sheet up, we will be going as we were in round 1 from the top. Nathan will be first on this one.
Yes, sir.
If you give me a second, let's get the timer back. Brilliant. So your 1 minute on question 3 starts now.
Thanks, Sam. It's hard to get everyone under that same net. I mean, we've got a lot of different people, a lot of different range of circles, especially in the Midway campus. We find that there's a lot of maturer students that don't want to get involved with the extra curriculum. They don't feel like the deep end, for example, is approachable because they feel older. But we've actually found, even those with families, even those with financial pressures, that all students can appreciate financial pressure. We still get involved. We still help each other out a lot, but we struggle with those that aren't on campus, that don't stay on campus. So society-wise, we do quite well, but it is very difficult to get everyone, especially those with disabilities that are not always obvious. We have a lot of people that do struggle to socially engage, but as members of staff, members of GKSU, we've been able to pull them out and help them, make them part of our teams, make them learn a new skill such as pool or darts. Yeah, we're quite approachable in Medway.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Next up is Luke.
Good evening.
I can see Luke, yes.
There we go.
Go ahead, your minute starts now.
Thank you. So reducing these barriers, well, having had a large proportion of my course be commuter students and also 2 of them being parents, I've been talking to them about their experiences. And I think that sometimes the daytime activities need to be pushed, because then it means there's no pressure on them to stay late in the evening on campus when they do have commuting and responsibilities outside of the 9-to-5 day. So I'd look at also adding some weekend events in there and also some child-friendly events. So then those with parents can actually come to these events. As for disabled students, I want to make sure these lifts, when they do go out of action, we fix them quicker than what they are, because several weeks is far too long. And diversifying the wellbeing department. I know some of you out there have mentioned that you sometimes might not feel comfortable coming forward because of who the wellbeing team are. So it's adding people from different backgrounds for cultural sensitivity, and then adding further promotion of these protected characteristics in our curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luke. You've got a timer next to you, haven't you? I feel like you do, because you're...
I've got to, I mean, you know, best way to not overrun. Bit of advice for seminars, you know.
Thank you very much, Luke. Attica, next, please.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It might just be my screen, but your video... no, your video is fine. There we go. There you go. Your 1 minute starts now.
Okay, so firstly, I will push for a seat at the table for all minority groups, that is LGBTQ, BAME, disabled and women members of the student body when discussing actions pertaining to them. And with LGBTQ and faith groups, that includes discussions about their spaces, bathrooms, prayer rooms, etc. A zero tolerance policy on discrimination. I will also push for anonymous channels to submit to liberation forums and student assemblies. And I say this especially because some LGBTQ students might not want to contribute without to these liberation forums without outing themselves as such. And I say this based on feedback. I'm driven to close the attainment gap through regular BAME-aimed forums and opt-in surveys about their academic experience, so we can see what's creating this gap and remedy it. I'm going to push for all talks to be on MS Teams so that they can be accessible to those hard of hearing, and I'm pushing for students recorded to have disabilities to be checked on a quarterly basis to make sure their needs are being catered to. Community students and mature students also find it hard to have a social life, so I'm pushing for a mature student hub and more online adaptable events that are more accessible to not only commuters but people with caring responsibilities and people who have physical disabilities.
Thank you. That's good. It's time. Thank you very much. So next up is Zoe.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, you're about to be spotlighted, and your minute starts now.
Okay, so there's a ton of stuff that I feel is important, and there's not enough time to talk about it, but I think it's really important that we're protecting our liberation networks. I think it's really great that we've been able to bring them back, but I think they need to always be in place, and we need to recognise where they may not be the safest space for certain people. We need to prepare our student groups to be able to actually be inclusive. You know, sometimes they're just not aware of the kinds of students that we have here, and so they can't do the best job, but they really want to. I think the general thing is about raising awareness. I think some people just unintentionally don't realise that they're not considering your needs. So we need to be having open conversations and to be kind of, you know, break down those barriers between students and staff as well. I think being able to just generally talk about this stuff and to not be afraid and to know that we're all kind of trying to be inclusive is a really good way to make sure that we are preventing ourselves from creating barriers and from harming each other.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Next up on my list is Ruth.
Yes, so first, I think it's very important that we listen to each other and have understanding for each other. Yeah, and in my courses, professional and peer mentoring has helped me to find people I can relate to and who are able to help me because of their experience. I believe professional and peer mentoring is important in this. And I think this point, and one of the things I would like to continue improving is, for example, making professional and peer mentoring a standard within every course, because mentoring can be a great help in making students feel understood, and it is a great part in making us feel a sense of belonging and community, which we feel supported and strengthened by. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ruth. Martina's not in the chat, so I'm now going to assume that she is not to attend the course. I'll just move Martina from our rotation. And next up is Shay.
Hi.
Hello. Your 1 minute on question 3 starts now.
First off, I just want to say to all liberation groups that you are included in the university and you are an important population. And yeah, so the way I want to help you is bring in more consultation groups in which you can talk about your university experience, talk about any problems you're facing, and hopefully make new friends. For BAME students specifically, I want to be working in closing the BAME awarding gap. And by doing that is talking about, life experiences, issues back home. I mean, I'm a BAME student myself, so I do understand some of the issues we face. And I feel like, thirdly, for disabled students, I want to be bringing in earlier enrollment dates so they get more one-to-one. And finally, for LGBT and women, I want to be bringing in more public figures, talks from public figures, and more promotions for their societies, so they can feel more inclusive within the university. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shay. Sorry, technology. Thank you. Yasino is next.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your 1 minute starts now.
Yes, so I think we need to create more communities, not only just communities, more connected and stronger communities, so people can get a platform to speak, they can have a platform to make their voice heard. So I think we should work on to create more communities, and we also need to work on a culture of mutual respect. I mean, people might have different thoughts, different understandings, so we have to respect each other, and as a university, we have to spread these words to everywhere and make everyone should respect each other. Yeah, so I think we should do more discussion on different types of students from different background, and that's how. And building more communities can help us to, increase the education system. Yeah, thank you.
Very much. Thank you, Yasina. Next is Malachi.
Hiya, yes. So for me, I think the way to go about these barriers is to tackle them head on. And the way to do that, or the way I intend to do that, is by ensuring our liberation networks have the support that they require to tackle this issue head on. Obviously, it's a big issue. It's going to take time. But if we can make sure that these groups of students are having their voices heard on campus, having their voices heard by staff, and are receiving additional support, we can lessen that. I also want to add on to the point made by previous candidates that I would have a strict anti-discrimination policy and make sure that that is completely tightened within campuses. In terms of actually making sure students can get the full experience, I want to make sure that all society events are accessible to all students. So that's things like making sure that you can travel between campuses, making sure they're at suitable times, and making sure that all students are able to enjoy them and receive the support from societies without feeling slightly left out. All right, thank you.
Very much. Right on time. Stop. Give me PTSD of every morning trying to make my alarm stop. Right, next is Nick.
Hello.
Hello. Your 1 minute starts now.
Okay, so I'll use the main one that I noticed last year, which was the lifts in Stockwell Street not working, and it meant that a lot of wheelchair users and people like that couldn't get to their lectures. I think one of the main things you need to do is just scream and shout about it, because the fact is the university is a business and they want as many students here as possible because they want as much money as possible. And if we suddenly turn around and say students can't actually get to their lectures if you're disabled, then they're going to lose students. So I think that is one thing. So yeah, making a point of bringing attention to these issues and how the university handles it. The key to removing the kind of discrimination, I'm all about involvement and enjoyment, but it's education around these issues, education around groups, religious groups, LGBTQ plus, religious groups, faith groups, things like that. It's bringing that education to it and making those who maybe aren't part of those groups more aware of it and as aware as they should be, I think, in today's society.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nick. Next up, Roshni.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can. Your 1 minute starts now.
Yeah, so what I feel about reducing the barriers is that effective communication and creating groups and societies where we can work in together, and with the collaboration of LGBT and other societies, which is already in the university, we can create an additional caring and responsibilities among students and identifying each other and creating a sense of belonging for each one of us, so that we can reduce the pressure and feeling of that we are not being involved or being a part of the group we are. So it moreover like creating an effective communication with one another and being with each other and working together and supporting each other to have a good student experience at the university, so that we can reduce the discrimination among each other and also the additional pressures that students have facing during the education time and the environment they have. All this can be reduced by moreover through a communication and also having a one-to-one experience and have a sense of belonging to each other in the university itself. And we can work collaboratively in doing so. So more I feel like we have to work more collaboratively with all the societies which are already in the university, and also creating events and plan and organize that everyone can get involved.
Brilliant. Thank you, Roshni. All right. Nah.
I hope I'm not echoing.
No, I can hear you. I'll mute as well. I'll start the time now.
All right, awesome. So, okay, there are academic and social sides to this. Primarily, you've got to look at things like accessibility. But what I would do is create opportunities for personal development and confidence growth. Because the thing is, everybody has the capacity to be exceptional. And your uniqueness is one of your greatest assets. There's literally nobody that's like you on the earth. How cool is that? So I think the reason a lot of people don't fulfill their greatest potential is that they don't actually believe that they could. So I'm not going to say that I'm going to empower you, because that would imply that I'm the source of your power, and I assure you I'm not. But it's really just giving people the opportunity to see the potential that they already have and help them see the picture of the possibility of them fulfilling what they want to do in their mind's eye. Give them the space to grow. We can tackle discrimination by doing things like improving reporting and disciplinary actions, but primarily it's personal development that I would work on. And I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Noah. Next up, sorry, I'm sure as you all know, as the day goes on, the teams start to slow down just a little bit more, so please do bear with me. Next up is Neela.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, I can see you, and your 1 minute starts now.
So I have a lot of experience working for liberation causes in the Students' Union. I have been president and am now the treasurer of the Feminism Society, as well as working as a liberation organizer in the liberation networks that have been mentioned. For example, I organized the Women's History Month that you've all seen plugged at the beginning. The mistake we often make about liberation is that awareness and listening to liberation groups is extremely important, but it needs to go along with real, actual policy changes. The issues I want to work on are the recognition of pronouns and chosen names in class, as well as on university documents, creating gender-neutral and accessible bathrooms, as well as prayer spaces and washing facilities that go along with those prayer spaces, and a decolonization of the curriculum. If you don't just want awareness and don't just want to have your voices heard, but have real solutions to real problems that liberation groups face, I'm your candidate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neela. Next up is Vaishali.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, I can see you, and your minute will start now.
All right. So reducing the barriers towards the education means just not reducing barriers towards the university and stuff. It also includes what's going on and around the university. It's very necessary to build relationship between the students and among the campuses, I believe so. And there should be some course-based social events so that everyone is involved in it. And there should be a get-together so that it's not Medway campus or it's not Greenwich campus, it's University of Greenwich, what I basically feel. And we should reflect often instead of having quarterly surveys. It should be monthly surveys so that the feedback is given and it's being improved. It's not just BAME, it's not just LGBTQ, it's not just minority, women's or handicaps. It's a person who is suffering through problems, and it's already the BAME society is being taking steps forward. It's the feminism society where Neela is involved and she is doing amazing work. So we really don't know who is doing what. So there should be collectively done, and I feel so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Vaishali. And last on this round is Sharifa, please. I'm just getting you up, Sharifa, if you can unmute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Your minute starts now.
So I personally want to work closely with students that are affected directly, because the barriers I face as a Black Muslim woman are not the same barriers that other students face. So as a result, I cannot understand all the barriers that everyone faces. I think that communication, listening to understand, and working with students to find strategies to help them is what is important. And I may assume that my approach will be liked and accepted by students, but this may not be the case. And I really do think there's no way I can do this by myself without working with students that are directly affected. So, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. So that is the end of round 3, which is the questions, themed questions to all candidates on the same issues. So if you just bear with me, we'll shortly be moving on to round 4, which is the final part of tonight's hustings, where each of you will get an individualized question based on your manifesto and the information that you have put out. But before we go to that, I want to give you guys just a little bit of a sneak peek update into how voting has been going. Obviously, we opened this morning. We've already had over 1,000 votes submitted for both positions, so across GSU officer and NUS delegate, from just under 600 individual students. So we're well up and running. Yeah, round of applause. I'm liking the round of applause. I'm going to join you. Round of applause. So if you're a student watching us on our live stream, if you're a student in our stream, thank you for voting if you voted. If you haven't yet, please make sure you do. The polls close on Thursday at 3 p.m. So we're off to a good start. It's obviously a very challenging time for everyone, especially with online, but it's good to know that students are engaging with us online. So all the links that I mentioned earlier, please continue sharing. Direct students towards their emails. They all received an all-student email, and we'll make sure that there's a lot more comms coming over the next couple of days. So we will be moving to the last section, which is based on your manifestos. So the order, again, we're going to reverse it. So we're going to go to Sharifa. Will be first. So I'll ask you a question. Give you just a couple of seconds and then I will start the timer. You'll have 1 minute. And also if there are any additional follow-ups or more clarification, I will ask that after your initial answer and you'll get up to 30 seconds to answer that. And that'll be the same for all candidates. Okay, cool. So Sharifa, your question. You've said that some students should get a reduction in fees, but how would you judge who gets this and why wouldn't everyone?
Okay, so I think every course is different, and some courses have been much better than others. Some students have had a better education than other students have. But apart from that, when you look at international students, for example, and like students that have paid like money, accommodations that they haven't used, like it's just those little things that would determine whether the student would get a refund or not, because students have lost a lot of money, they've lost a lot of time, the education was not the same, and I think those are the little things that I would look at to determine who does and who doesn't get a refund. So yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. My follow-up on that, so just to clarify then, your refund policy is not solely based on fees or the level of education received, but are you saying that you would take into account other factors?
Yes, because the university's job is to communicate clearly with its student, and if it fails to do that, then it must be accountable for it. And the university, yes, it did communicate to some extent, however, not all communication was great, and therefore they need to be accountable and repay the money back to students. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Sharifa. Next up, Vaishali. There we go. You're unmuted. Yep, I can see you. Can you see? Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I just froze. So students from time to time have said that they do not like the over-securitization of campus. How will your increased security patrols make all students feel safer?
Okay, so according last year we received certain emails regarding there has been a threat to students, because basically where I study, University of Greenwich, it's the main campus, and surrounding there are a lot of restaurants, there are a lot of people, just not from the university, but around the London, do come to Greenwich because it's a historical place. And petrolization, it's because there's Devonport House as well over there, and there's library just around the university. So it's interconnected, and there are a lot of streets. So there are a lot of robbery, there are a lot of threats. People just can pull out the knives and threat the students, and a lot of international students do not really feel secure, but because initially as they have come, they expect security, and not in terms of just their life, but in terms of whatever assets they have with them, because they are the one who come individually and away from family.
Okay, thank you. So I guess my follow-up then on this is, do you think that it's more about having more of a security presence, or do you think that there should be further escalations and reporting mechanisms to the police?
Yeah, certainly it goes through a process. If someone is having a problem, they definitely call the petrolization and inform what are they facing through. But if it's for a sake of goodness, I feel there should be a unity in this. Security is not it's not a problem for students. It's for their sake, and it's for around the people. So I don't think so there should be any problem for the students if there's security around the university and the residency as well.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks so much, Vaishali.
Thanks.
Next up is Neela. Okay, we'll get there. Teams. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Sorry, took a bit to unmute myself.
No worries at all. So my question to you is, many students are worried about returning to campus. How will you fast track the return to holding events on campus, also supporting students who might still be in other countries?
So I am not aiming to fast track the return to campus. I'm aiming to ensure that once we are allowed to return to campus, we do so in a secure and safe manner. And I will ensure that by taking a holistic approach to students' well-being. So I will ensure that proper PPE is available for students on campus, and that testing, free and accessible COVID testing, is available to students on campus, while also ensuring that when we return, we have improved mental health services so students can talk to someone at the university if they struggle with the return, because we have been online for a whole year now. You just said we're in month number 12 of Zoom learning. So it is only right to assume that returning in person will take a mental strain on students. So that's the holistic approach to students' well-being that I'm talking about. And I would also ensure that when societies go back to holding events in person and sports teams can finally return to training in person, that we do so according to the government guidelines.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So I guess my follow-up, though, is maybe just digging in a little bit more in terms of, do your plans also take into account those who might still be worried or apprehensive about returning to campus, those who may not fully return to campus? How would they be able to engage with the things that you just mentioned?
So I think we need to, obviously, I'm not aiming to, once we return on campus, abolish all online interaction that the university has with their students. So students should be able to choose if they have concerns about returning to campus. They should be able to choose if they want to. And the university, as well as the academic services, have to cater to students who are on and off campus. And students who are on and off campus have to be able to use the increased mental health services that I'm talking about as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Na.
Hello.
Hello. We'll just get you spotlighted. Just give us 1 second. There we go. Na, you say students' right to worship has been impacted. How so? Who is responsible? And what would you do about this if elected?
What a question. Thank you very much. All right, so students' right to worship being impacted. I would say this is being mostly highlighted in the government regulations and the disparity between government COVID regulations and university regulations as well. So for example, the updated regulations state that houses of worship can open and gives you a definition, a precise definition of what a house of worship is. And a house of worship is not a place that was not designed for the use of worship. So for example, a community center can be a house of worship if it's being used for such a purpose. The university has taken a blanket approach to this and said, okay, we're not going to open anywhere. So for example, if a faith society uses a particular venue for worship activities, they're not being allowed to engage in that because they're not allowed to even enter the facility in the first place. So what I would do is to ensure that by all accounts, that basic need, that basic right is observed, irrespective of what it is that, certain groups may want to do. Sorry.
That's absolutely fine. So my follow-up is then, do you think this should be unrestricted, bearing in mind the potential for higher transmissions among students, or do you think it should be alongside, the government wording, which is, essentially for the wider community? So do you distinguish between students' needs to use facilities versus the wider public's?
Well, that's an interesting point to follow up on. Okay, it would have to be a blend of both for it to practically work, because a lot of people would have concerns about, for it to be fully unrestricted. But of course, it's about taking the first step in allowing it onto the table in the first place, and then we can tweak, we can monitor, we can amend. But does that answer your question, or do you want more?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, No. Next up, if I could have Roshni.
Yes.
So, I can see you, I can hear you. How will you build a relationship with the university, and how will you manage when students are not happy with the university?
Correct.
Yep, go ahead, your time starts now.
All right. Our campus is great, and our university is doing so much for our student welfare. So what I feel is that to keep it that way, we have to work really hard continuously. And if students and managers are happy, it's a win-win. And this is the main reason why my intention is to participate in the selection. I have the experience to work collaboratively and deliver the best for the students and also for the management where I was working before. So I can collaborate and work together to know what others need and what they need. I can work according to what the needs are. And I would love the opportunity to serve and work with the best for the student community. And together, let's make a win-win campus is my campaign motto, wherein both our students and the management is happy with our services and how we can work collaboratively and make social work for each other. And moreover, it's all about having a happy student life for each of us, and also for the management having us students there, and both of us can do have a great time in the limited period of university life. That's what I think.
Thank you, Vaishali. Roshni, I beg your pardon. So my follow-up is, whilst we all would absolutely want students to be happy all the time, I think we can all definitely agree on that. What will your plans be, though, just in case we don't get that dream win-win scenario where some students might not be fully happy at university?
It's more about like having a communication, like you keeping a regular checkup on the student and the communities, the social groups we have, and administrative teams, and it's about bringing about a new a survey maybe, or making each other like getting to know what actually the students are lacking. Like it's all about having a one-to-one experience. It's more that you get an attention. That's where happiness comes out, and what you like and what you want is fulfilled. There you go. You'll be happy. That's what.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Roshni.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Nick.
So I just realised my camera was off the whole time.
Right, it's on now, and your mic is on as well.
Cool.
So, how will you make sports clubs more inclusive to students?
How will I make them more inclusive? That's such a good question, and I'm so glad you asked. So, I think one of the things we need to do is actually demonstrate how inclusive sports teams already are. I think there is definitely a stigma around sports teams having this very exclusive membership kind of thing where, you know, you have to pass certain trials to get in. I know some teams do require that, and so they can sort you into different teams regarding based on ability. But I think demonstrate how inclusive the teams are now. If you're looking at it in regard to sort of BAME students, faith groups, LGBTQ+, you know, different, what we would consider smaller groups that maybe you don't necessarily associate with sports teams straight away, really demonstrate that, in fact, they are actually part of sports teams. And while people don't see that on the face of it, this is happening now. And if you demonstrate that to people, to everybody, then people are much more likely to go, oh, I can do that as well. You know, I can get involved as this person is.
Okay, thank you. So just to press a bit further, how will you break down then the perceived barriers to being a part of, let's say, the competitive sports teams?
Okay. How do you mean it?
So you mentioned about the exclusive perception. So the perception must come from somewhere. So what will you do to try and break down those perceived barriers?
Yeah, okay. So a campaign I was interested in running, or what I would have done this year, is following a student from not playing sport at all to joining a team to going through the process of becoming a member of a team. I think that would be showing people what the stages are in different teams and showing this is what you're going to expect. This is what, you know, this is what you get at the end. Here's where you start and here's how you get to be a member of that team that you might look on from an outside perspective and think, I'm never going to get to that stage. You know, I'm never going to be a part of that team that involved. I think showing somebody how easy it is to become involved, and it doesn't matter who you are, is really important.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nick. Next up is Malachi.
Hiya.
Hello. I'll just wait for you to come up on my screen. Just bear with.
No worries.
You should be... Yes, now I've got you spotlighted. Teams, it's getting slower and slower. So, Malachi, how will you work to reduce waiting times and mental health support? Mm-hmm. And do you think the university should be providing acute mental health support rather than the NHS?
Yes. So, firstly, yes, I do feel that the mental health support should come from the university. I think that there are ways that students can receive mental health support from the NHS that are already in place. But when you enrol to be a student, the university has they have a duty of care. And that duty of care, I think, should also be for both mental health and physical health. And in terms of actually reducing the waiting times, by adding more counsellors, by making the service more available to students, in turn, that will reduce waiting times. So I think the key thing there is that we do need more counsellors on the team. That is something that needs to be looked into, and that in itself would reduce the waiting time for students to ensure that they could receive the support.
Okay, thank you very much.
No worries.
So you mentioned about the university duty of care, absolutely. But what further do you think the university can do to help signpost? And I think we could, there's lots of strains on the service as well. So on top of more counsellors, which is the human resource, what other ways do you think the university could improve their mental health support for students?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this year in particular, I've been part of the retention ambassador scheme, where we've called all students and made sure they're aware of these wellbeing services. And I think that there is a part of it that actually we need to signpost as well, like you say. And I think a great way to do that would be to have a mental health awareness week campaign, in the same way that we have Green Week, get societies involved and make sure that all students are talking about their mental health and talking about when they need support, and they can get the support then both from the professionals within the university and also from their peers within the societies, and that network community supporting them from within their peer groups.
Thanks so much, Malachi.
No worries, thank you.
Next up, Yasina.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Just give me 1 second. I'll be able to see you soon. There we go. Thank you, Yasina. So, how will you persuade the university to allow students to get extensions to their deadlines without providing evidence?
Okay, so this year, because of COVID, mental health is actually a really big and really important issues. And it's really true that a lot of us face many kind of mental health related problems like anxiety, stress, and all the stuff. And if for this reason, sometimes we can't really focus on assignments or exams or presentation, and we don't do really well. But if you go to the EC telling these things, the EC committee are not really supportive on this time, and they will think we're just lying because we just want an extension. So it's not really true. But I have some plans to improve the mental health, like introducing mental health ambassador, create more support networks, and launch a well-equipped mental health website. So if any students are suffering from any kind of mental health related issues, if they just visit one of these support groups and if they just keep this proof, or if they just tell that I went there, and if the EC contact with these support groups, so this can help them to get the EC, and this will help them to improve their academic experience as well. So yeah.
Okay, thank you on that. And I think we'd all obviously assume and hope that this would be used in the correct way. But what do you think of the potentials where students might take advantage of a service like that, where the evidence is potentially lowered? How will you ensure that the system is robust enough so that the genuine cases are the ones that are looked at?
Okay, first of all, I have strong belief that no one will take advantage. But if some people take advantage on that time, I don't know what to do. Yeah, but I really believe no one will take advantage of this system. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Yasina. Shay, got Shay next.
Yeah, hi, sorry about that, my comments go off.
No worries. We'll just spotlight you, there we go. Oh. I'm not sure what's going on. Shay, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, your video keeps cutting out. We're just trying to spotlight you. If you just No, there we go. Now we've got you. So, you have mentioned about personalized workshops from Employability. How can we offer this to 19,000 students, and what would the personalized workshops look like?
So, within every course there is at university, I want the course leaders to come together for an annual meeting in which they'll be given information on specific workshops that's going to be taking place throughout the year. So I want to be, let's say, around 4 workshops throughout the year for each season, in which students can go to to get top tips and advice on how to increase employability. So stuff like marketing, the importance of marketing, the importance of exchanging contact details, the importance of work experience, and how all these things can help a student, become more successful in the future.
Okay, thank you. But I think more looking at, so you mentioned about 4 workshops. Would those be personalized, and how would students be able to get a tailored approach for these workshops and on their employability?
In regards to tailored experience, before the workshops begin, I'm going to be making a survey in which students can, say their own opinions and their own answers to what they want in a workshop and what they need help with. After I receive those answers, I'm going to work hard to. But sorry, sorry, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Shay. Thank you very much. Okay, Ruth.
Yes.
It's Ruth on the call. If we just spotlight you. There we go. So, Ruth, you've said you want to work towards excellent wellbeing services. What does this look like?
So I do think, our well-being services are very good. We have so many various services, and we just need to continue, making it visible and strengthening these. But I do think we have already very good, we have got many good services there.
Okay. I guess my follow-up is, maybe do you want to go into a bit further detail of what you want it to look like? So, we've got the current services, absolutely, but you mentioned specifically you want to work towards excellency. What does that look like? What are some of the things that are maybe missing that could be added on?
I think, so one of the main points for me is as well to have a strong support system. If students feel supported, then their well-being, they know, they can ask anytime, so that's why, I was saying peer support and as well professional mentoring is such an important point.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Ruth. Next up, we have Zoe.
Yep.
Zoe, yep, I can hear you. Momentarily, I'll be able to see you. Okay. So, your question is, you mentioned that there are controls on student groups from GSU. What effect does it have, and what could be done differently?
Okay, so I think I've got my manifesto up, and what I kind of mean by that, I said should support and not control. So what I mean by that is basically making sure that our groups feel they're free and they feel supported. I know our activities team sort of try to facilitate, and sometimes there's those challenges where some groups feel there's too much, some groups feel there's not enough, and I want to make sure that there's that good balance where staff aren't sort of getting a negative response from students, but also where students feel free to do what they need, and that our staff are helping because that's what they're there to do. And I think the main point is to kind of make sure that our students are feeling limitless and they can sort of produce the experiences that they want without feeling like there's too much of that like bureaucracy around it. I know some of that bureaucracy is necessary, but I think making those students feel like they can do anything for students and that there's those rules aren't there to stop them, I think is really important.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. My question to you then, what one element of bureaucracy would you get rid of?
Okay. I think just generally, I wouldn't get rid of it, but I think the process of kind of seeking information, I think some groups maybe feel they need to ask for permission for certain things, and I think just being clear on what you know, what the limitations are or the rules are, so that students don't feel that they've got to, you know, like if they want to do an event, that they've got to sort certain information, but they don't have to actually, you know, ask for permission for things. But yeah, I think, sorry, I just got a message. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Zoe. Attica?
Hello, yes.
There we go. Just going to spotlight you. Just give me 1 second. So, your question is, you have a highly detailed website with a lot of pledges. How do you envision working on all of this in 1 year, and what would you prioritize?
Okay, so the thing is, unlike previous years, we are actually, or we would be, if I do get in, open remit officers, which means that we actually have a responsibility to deal with whatever it is that matters to the students, and that does involve all of those many things that was that were highlighted in my website. And so if it's about what is most important, I would say that all the little issues that the student body finds themselves dealing with, I would have to take on. The thing is that it's what our officers are doing right now, and I'm sure Zoe can attest to this, and it would have to be work that we continue carrying out, whoever the next, you know, 4 officers are. So yeah, I'm going to continue performing as they've performed, and, you know, just try my best at it, and, you know, be an ear for students to, you know, relay their concerns, and I'm here to be a vessel.
Thank you very much. Your follow-up is then, so taking all of that into account, absolutely, how would you work on an ever-changing and reactive higher education sector alongside all of your goals? So there's all the work that, you know, you've mentioned that you'd like to achieve and that you'd like, you know, GSU to achieve absolutely within your officer team, but with an ever-changing HE sector, how will you make sure that you're also balancing that?
Okay, so once again, I really do feel as though that is part and parcel of the job. You have to be, you know, you have to be like a sponge, you have to be elastic, you have to be adaptable to everything that's coming. Zoe's nodding, because that is very much the nature of the job. And I think the only way to do it is, once again, I'm sorry if this sounds repetitive, but really just do take things as they come, and seeing from, you know, people who have worked as GSU officers before, who I'm familiar with, it really is just about, you know, looking at what's in front of you, seeing what's most urgent, what needs immediate attention, and working around like that, because it's a student body with tons of issues, and we have to be able to deal with all the little things. You know, we shouldn't be isolating any one issue. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. 4 seconds left to say your time was about to go. Thank you, Attica. Luke.
Hello.
Hello. So once we've got you highlighted, what steps do you think the university should take to meet their 2030 carbon neutrality goal?
So I think this is a brilliant topic, because we're at that turning point with climate change, and as a geographer, this is a key point to me. So the points they should take, well, we have to first of all think about what buildings we do have. Like, I know for a fact that Medway campus was built just after 1900, so we're dealing with buildings that are over 100 years old. So it's looking at how we can work with preservation to make that happen. And I know that one point to start with would be the Hawke building on the Medway campus. This uses more energy than all the other campus buildings put together. This is something that Jane said herself. So it'd be looking at ways in which we can find these reductions in energy usage, and working with the planning authorities to be able to adapt the buildings to meet the needs of today's world, not the world 100 years ago.
Thank you very much. So you've mentioned about buildings. Are there any other areas that you'd like to see the university tackle?
So the other area that I've spoken about in my manifesto is the university transport. Those of you who use the Medway to Greenwich shuttle buses, you know that we've now got the low emissions buses, but I think we can go further to use like university marked vans could be electric vans, and the shuttle bus between Haverhill and Greenwich, try and implement these electric or hydrogen low fuel usage vehicles. I think that'd be the other important thing that is plausible and reasonable to try and implement.
Okay, thank you very much, Luke.
I just want to say, think Hare, think Luke, vote Luke.
Thank you. And last but absolutely not least, Nathan, if we can get Nathan highlighted.
Thank you, sir.
Just give us 1 second. There we go. So Nathan, what is blame culture? And do you believe students have a right to air their concerns publicly?
Blame culture, I would say, is when people aren't taking credibility themselves, and so they're trying to blame a system that's working against them. When we're part of the same system, the staff at the University of Greenwich are on the same side of you. And absolutely, everyone should be entitled to their voice, their opinion. If you're having any troubles, speak to anyone, speak to another student, speak to staff. You'll be surprised how many people want to help you. And this group is exactly that. I'm imagining every single person in this group, whether elected or not, will help you in whatever concern you have. So I personally just want to drop this blame culture. You're an adult, you're accountable for yourself. So let's work with people. Let's open discussions. Let's put forth solutions so that we can step forward, as opposed to just saying, oh, I can't do it because Greenwich won't let me. Pick yourself up, do it.
Okay. So I guess my follow-up actually is, do you think this culture has been perpetuated at Greenwich University? How so? And what would you do to get
It's been perpetuated everywhere and outside of university. I don't want to say a generational kind or anything like that, but we get a lot of easy parts in life. We get a lot of help where we don't need help, and we lack a lot of help where we do need it. And I think it's just about getting that structure, making it fine-tuned, making sure it's critical in its application. As an engineer, it's all about critical thinking. We need to open discussions, and we need to implement solutions, and we need to revise these solutions over and over again. But we just need to stop with this culture of, I don't like it, they're doing nothing. No, what exactly are they doing, and what can we change, and how can we improve?
Okay, thank you very much, Nathan.
Thank you, Sam.
Cool. So I'm definitely going to start a round of applause for you guys. Well done. You've come to the end of the formal hustings with all the questions, and finishing off with your personalized questions as well. Really massive well done. Huge sigh of relief. You can have your water. And yeah, I'm seeing... my timer myself. I'm seeing a literal size of relief, so that's really great. We hope anyone and everyone that's watching this or that might watch it back has found this really useful in being able to find out a little bit more about the candidates, what they're running for, why they're standing, and also to differentiate a little bit between them as well. So to finish, I'm just going to go reverse order of what we had. Down the list, you're going to have about 15 seconds or so, a quick closing line. One or two of you already have some that you've been trialing, so you can go with that. But a really quick closing line on why students should vote for you. And I will just go in reverse order. So we'll start with Nathan, and your time starts now.
Whether you vote for me or not, just vote. It's all about having your opinion out there. Let's come together, let's consolidate, and be proud to be a part of Greenwich. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nathan. Okay, Luke?
I mean, I've been a student, been a faculty officer. This is next. It's what happens. As Nathan said, just go vote, and think Hare, think Luke, vote Luke.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Luke. Attica?
Hi, guys. So as I made clear in the last round, I understand the nature of this job, how crazy it is, and I'm willing and ready to work. And yeah, as I say, what matters to you matters to me. And yeah, I'm ready for it. So yeah, vote Attica number 1.
Thank you very much. Zoe?
Re-elect Zoe number 1 because I'm the most experienced candidate and I really want to support this next team to get things done. Yeah.
Great. Ruth?
Yes. So I believe the change you see starts with you and me, and I hope you vote for me as one of your officers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shay?
If you want somebody who's willing to give everything and never ask for anything in return, then vote for Shay. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Shay. Yes or no?
Vote Yasin #1 for a connected community and for improved mental health. Thank you.
Thank you. Malachi?
Hi, yes, so I'm proactive, passionate, and approachable. And you should vote Malachi #1 if you want to have your voice heard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nick?
Yes, so if you want energy, efficiency, and experience brought to the SU role, then put a 1 next to my name on the SU website and we can start getting some change made together.
Thank you very much. Roshni? Is Roshni still on the call? If not, we might come back to you. You might be on mute. You might not be on the call, but still logged in, and that's fine. Nah?
We're good, maybe even great, but we could actually be amazing. So if you want to make some serious changes that will benefit you, vote NAR as #1.
Thank you very much. Neela?
If you don't just want awareness, but real solutions to real problems that real students face, if you want experience you can count on, vote for Neela #1 and follow me on Neela for GSU. Thank you.
Thank you. Vaishali?
I definitely don't want to earn your vote, but definitely would love to earn your trust. And you can trust me on this, on the position of GSU officer. And this is the time you should stand up and get together and vote one who is right for this position and who can bring you out. And you can definitely believe in the change I'm going to bring in. And I'll be always ready to lead. Thank you so much on trusting me on this. So that's it. Follow my Instagram handle, vaishalipatil.gsu.nus. Thank you and cheers. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, Vaishali. And Sharifa?
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say that the future of Greenwich is in your hands. Vote Ooh, wisely, and remember, change starts with you.
Thank you. And last call for Roshni, if you are on the call. If not, thank you very much. Right now, that is the end for you guys. Thank you all for participating, for staying on, really engaging with the questions. That's been really great. So I'm just going to add a few notices for those that are watching, those that might watch back. So as candidates, please do share. So thank you to all the candidates who've shared their views today. Wish you all the best with the rest of the elections. For anyone watching, the full list of candidates for GSU officer, including those who were unfortunately not able to make it tonight, as well as the list of candidates for NUS delegate, can all be found on the Greenwich SU website. Voting is open, so hopefully this event has helped you to decide who to vote for. You can pick up your free ticket for the elections results night on the GSU website as well. Tune in at 6 p.m. on Friday, the 5th of March, this Friday, to hear who the winners are and next year's leadership team and who they're going to be. So for all the information, check the website, make sure you vote before 3 p.m. on Thursday. And thank you all again for coming, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Cheers.